银行问你取钱干什么？
The bank asks you what you're withdrawing the money for. Remember these Yuan lines, universal scripts, and the teller will immediately go quiet and dutifully process your transaction. What on earth is going on? Today, we'll talk about this topic. In recent years, when customers try to withdraw large amounts of cash at banks, many have encountered the awkward scene of tellers asking about the purpose of the funds. Some people who answered for a family member's medical treatment were asked to provide medical records. Some who said for buying a house were pressed for the exact building complex. Some who refused to answer were told the bank could not process the transaction. This offline issue has sparked wide controversy. Do banks have the right to interrogate depositors about the use of their funds? And how should depositors lawfully and compliantly defend their financial rights? Why has one seemingly simple question become the fuse for escalating conflict between depositors and banks? In 2023, the People's Bank of China issued the Measures on the Prohibition of Financial Institutions Customer Investigation and on the Preservation and Management of Customer Identity Information and Transaction Records, which clearly stipulates relevant rules. If you go to the bank to withdraw cash of 50,000 yuan or more, 9 times out of 10, you will be asked about the purpose of the funds. A few days ago, a friend of mine went to withdraw 100,000 yuan to build a house in his hometown. The teller persistently asked 7 or 8 times which specific village and who the contractor was. Listeners were furious. But do you know this is not the bank intentionally making things difficult? The new rules issued by the central bank in 2023 state that when an individual withdraws cash of 50,000 yuan or more, the bank must register the source or purpose mainly to prevent money laundering and fraud. But in real-world execution, the policy has become distorted. In 2024, national complaints triggered by such questioning surged by 47%. Many people complained that they had to write reports on how they spent their own money. Behind this are 2 layers of conflict. First, the gap between the policy's original intention and its implementation methods. Central bank data show that of the money laundering cases uncovered in 2024 involving a total of 800 billion yuan, 65% were transfers conducted through banks. For example, someone says they are withdrawing cash for home renovation, but that money ends up in overseas casinos. Someone says it is to repay a debt, but actually it is laundering money for a fraud syndicate. This is why banks are required to verify the purpose of funds. But the problem is that some banks have turned verification into interrogation. In Zhejiang, a depositor withdrew 100,000 yuan for a family member's medical treatment and was forced to hand over medical records. In Beijing, an elderly person withdrawing pension funds was compelled to write a 3-page statement explaining how they would use the money. Such one-size-fits-all operations understandably make depositors angry. Second is the conflict between compliance requirements and depositors' rights. Many banks treat registering the purpose as an approval power, but the commercial bank law expressly states the freedom to withdraw deposits. If you withdraw 50,000 yuan or more and present your ID card, the bank has no right to refuse. Previously, a depositor who wanted to withdraw cash to buy a house was refused for not bringing the purchase contract. This was the bank overstepping. Even more absurd, in 2024, the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission reported that 17% of banks used compliance as a pretext to directly block legitimate cash needs. This is a typical sign of a lack of service awareness. So what should you say when a busybody asks too many questions? Remember these legal-backed lines: calming, compliant, and non-offensive scripts. First, the soothing version. This money is from my legitimate income and will be used for a lawful purpose. It is personal privacy and I'm not comfortable going into details, but I assure you the use is legal and compliant. If a regulatory authority needs to check, I can cooperate and provide materials. This both asserts privacy rights and offers a compliance guarantee. Second, the legal assertion version. According to Article 29 of the Commercial Bank Law, I have the right to withdraw deposits. You may register the purpose, but you have no authority to demand supporting documents. If you refuse to process this, please provide the specific legal basis. Quoting the law outright will often make the teller back down. Third, the complaint version. Your current questioning has exceeded a reasonable scope. I reserve the right to file a complaint. Here are my ID and withdrawal slip, please. Process according to procedures. Say this while taking out your phone to record and call the 12378 complaint hotline of the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission. Let me tell you a little secret. Bank tellers are also in a bind from internal training. Ask too little, and they fear being held accountable. Ask too much, and they risk complaints. Depositors can be flexible too. If you are withdrawing a genuinely large sum, proactively say something like, "I'm withdrawing to build a house in my hometown," or "I'm paying a renovation contractor." After the teller records it, most will let it go. But remember, stating a purpose is for notification, not for the bank to demand contracts or proof. The core issue now is that banks must find a balance between anti-money laundering efforts and protecting privacy. For example, using big data to flag risky accounts and building a white list for customers who frequently need large cash withdrawals, so tellers are not interrogating everyone. As depositors, we should also understand that verifying purpose aims to prevent crime. As long as our money is clean and the intended use is legitimate, there's no need to fight the bank over it. But if you encounter deliberate harassment, you must defend your rights. At the end of the day, banks and depositors are not adversaries. We all must act according to the law. If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me. A young man from Henan province transferred a large sum of money, 80 million yuan, into a bank. But when he urgently needed to use the funds, the bank refused to let him withdraw them. The reason they gave made him furious. Mr. Li, the man seen operating the POS machine in the video, recently encountered this extremely frustrating situation. Mr. Li explained that after years of doing business, he had managed to save 80 million yuan, which he then deposited entirely into a bank in Henan. Because he was worried that one day he might need the money for an emergency, he chose to deposit it in a current account so that he could withdraw it at any time. Unfortunately, not long after, Mr. Li did encounter an urgent matter that required a large amount of money. He immediately went to the bank, intending to withdraw the 80 million yuan. However, what happened next completely overturned his understanding of how banks should work. When he arrived at the bank, he discovered that he could not withdraw his own money. Thinking perhaps the amount he wanted to withdraw was too large and that the bank simply did not have enough cash on hand at that moment, he patiently communicated with the bank staff. After a discussion, the staff promised him that he would be able to withdraw the money on Monday of the following week. Mr. Li accepted this explanation without much doubt and went home to wait quietly. When the agreed date arrived, he returned to the bank, but the response he received left him completely confused. The bank told him that the funds haven't arrived yet and advised him to go home and wait a little longer. Mr. Li could not understand this at all. The reason he had deposited his 80 million yuan as a current deposit was precisely so that he could withdraw it at any time. Why had it suddenly become such a complicated process? Because he urgently needed the money, Mr. Li had no choice but to contact the media, hoping that with the help of journalists he could retrieve his own funds more quickly. When the reporters questioned the bank, Mr. Li asked directly, "I'm transferring money out of my own current account. What right do you have to restrict me?" The bank staff responded, "According to the regulations of the People's Bank of China, we also have certain investment and management requirements, and we must follow the process." To further clarify, the bank's responsible person explained that according to their internal policies, Ms. Li's deposit was subject to investment and management rules, and withdrawing such a large amount required following specific procedures. Since those procedures were still in progress, the money could not yet be released. Mr. Li, however, was not satisfied with this explanation. He said that he had already spoken with the bank manager the previous Thursday and was told that the bank had 40 million yuan in available funds at that time. Shortly afterward, an additional 30 million yuan was transferred in, and another 10 million yuan came in on Friday. Therefore, by Monday, the bank should have had more than enough liquidity to cover his 80 million yuan withdrawal. Yet the bank still refused to release the money. Mr. Li was extremely angry. He questioned why depositing money had required no process, but withdrawing it suddenly involved so many obstacles. The bank representative maintained an official tone, repeating that according to regulations, large withdrawals must go through the proper approval process, and that it typically takes 1 to 2 days to complete. At the end of the month, when business volume is high, it could take longer. When reporters asked about Mr. Li's case, since he had already made an appointment several days in advance, but still couldn't get his money on Monday, the bank replied that the delay was because Saturday and Sunday were official rest days. during which the bank system does not process business transactions. Therefore, the entire procedure took longer than usual. They assured Mr. Lee that the withdrawal process for his 80 million yuan was already underway and asked him to go home and wait patiently. However, Mr. Lee found this reasoning unacceptable. He emphasized that he urgently needed the funds and suspected that the real reason behind the delay was internal. He believed that the bank might have been undergoing an internal performance assessment or liquidity review, which was why they were deliberately making it difficult for him to withdraw his money. He also stated that if the bank was indeed intentionally obstructing his withdrawal, he would file a formal complaint with the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission. Faced with Mr. Lee's logical and well-reasoned arguments, the bank finally made a new promise, assuring him that he would be able to withdraw the full amount before 10 o'clock the next morning. To be fair, although the bank's efficiency was poor, the staff's attitude remained polite throughout. They patiently explained everything, sincerely apologized for the inconvenience, and promised to treat this incident as a lesson, pledging to optimize the approval process for large withdrawals in the future to ensure faster and more efficient service for customers. Mr. Lee's anger gradually subsided after the staff's apology. In the end, he confirmed that he successfully withdrew his 80 million yuan the following day and accepted the bank's apology, saying that he would no longer pursue the matter further. What do you think about Mr. Lee's experience? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
来，我现在录像啊，来，我现在开始问你们。
4.4. All right, I'm recording now. I'm recording right now. Okay, here we go. I'm starting to ask you, is this card mine? Is this money mine? Right? Then why is it that when I try to make a transfer now, you won't let me transfer it? I came here to unfreeze the account, and you still refuse to unfreeze it. Now you're asking me. This card, the money in this card, to whom was it transferred? To whom were these multiple transactions sent? I already told you, I transferred some money to my friends. Some of my friends transferred money to me. I also paid for taxi rides and made completely normal online payments, whether it was scanning for a shared bicycle or paying for a ride-hailing service. All of these were regular payments made by me. Now you're telling me to list the names of every single person, to tell you, one by one, to whom I transferred money, to list the recipient of each transaction, to identify every single one, to match them one by one, and even to show you my chat logs. How can I possibly do that? Speak clearly, say it directly. Young man, just now I asked you, didn't you just tell me that I must list the name of each person I transferred to and that I must print out the chat logs and give them to you? Are you police officers? Are you interrogating me? We're just trying to help you solve the issue, you said, but if you talk like this, we can't resolve it properly. We're under strict, unprecedented control. Fine, unprecedented control. If there's an issue, investigate it according to your procedures for abnormal transactions. I'll cooperate with that. If there are missing materials, tell me what they are, and I'll provide them so we can finish this. Please tell me clearly what materials are required. You've been conducting frequent transactions in a short period, you said. When transactions are frequent, the system detects anomalies, so we must verify your situation, right? Verification requires your cooperation, you added. But these are not just one or two transactions, they are multiple frequent transactions. Yes, you continued, but this is part of our assistance work. We're helping you handle it. Fine. So what do you need me to do now to assist you? How should I cooperate? Assist means you explain those so-called anomalies. Why were you transacting frequently with those people? Even if you don't have the specific transaction details or records, you need to explain clearly. Once we verify these abnormal transactions with you, the issue can be resolved. The card is indeed your card. The money is your money. That doesn't stop you from withdrawing or using it. But if you unfreeze it now and later similar frequent transactions appear again, the system will detect it again and flag it once more. Let me be clear. Just now you said you're worried about telecom fraud prevention, right? You're trying to prevent me from being a scammer, right? We're also implementing control, you said. We have to follow procedures and need documents before we can lift restrictions. If your documents are insufficient, we can't unfreeze your account, and we're responsible if any problems occur afterward. All right, you just said it's to prevent me from committing fraud. Then you might as well call the police right now and tell them, "We have a fraudster here." Didn't you just say you were trying to prevent me? It's my card, my money, and me myself. It's not prevention, it's protection, you said. But you did say, prevent me. I have it recorded. Prevention can be active or passive, you explained. You might be a victim, or you might be the source. Another scenario is that your transactions are anomalous, and the system flagged them were just following the standard procedure. What's considered anomalous? I want to ask. My transfers are normal. I'm using your mobile banking app within my authorized limits. As I recall, my daily transfer limit is 500,000 yuan. I can make multiple transfers. That's within my authority. The people I transfer to are my friends. I didn't send money to random people. I didn't transfer to overseas accounts. I didn't send money outside of China. All the accounts I transfer to are here locally in Hefei. So tell me, why is this considered abnormal? What's the standard that separates normal from abnormal? Can the bank just decide that something is abnormal whenever it wants? If the bank says so, then it's abnormal? Doesn't that interfere with my rights? This isn't personal, you replied. It's determined by a model. The model has already made its judgment. Our task now is to verify whether the model's determination was wrong. If it was, we'll unfreeze it. We're here to help lift the restriction, not to decide whether you've done something wrong. But since I'm trying to lift it for you, you need to provide materials so I can proceed. If you don't answer questions, how can I do it? Exactly, that's the problem. The conflict is right here. You're asking me to provide materials, but what materials exactly? You're telling me to give you information about the people I transferred to, and those who transferred to me to provide screenshots of our chat logs, correct? Just now you said that you want me to provide screenshots of chats and even print them out for you, right? Just showing them to me is fine, no need to print. You said, fine, showing is fine, right? Then I want to ask, why should I show you my chat logs? Even the police don't have the right to read my chats without cause. You're a bank. What right do you have to look at my private messages? What right do you have to demand that? Do you have any legal authority to see my personal information? We're not trying to read your chat logs, you said. We're just verifying. Verification means looking. How can you verify without looking? Right, how else could I verify? You replied. So I ask again, what right do you have to look at my chat logs? Does your bank have that right? Under certain conditions, I also don't have the authority to unfreeze your account if your documents are incomplete, you said. Fine, then don't unfreeze it. I'm not asking for unfreezing today. I just want to make this clear. I'm telling you, I'm not requesting the unfreeze, but I'm asking you questions, and you must answer me, right? You're the ones who froze my account. You should at least answer me. You said just now that if you want to unfreeze my card, you must look at my chat logs. That's not the logic, you said. It's just one possible method. But that method has become mandatory, hasn't it? Matching names is also fine, you added. Then fine, I'll give you names. I'll list which transactions I made, to whom, and for how much, and you can match the names. But you just said you can't match the names. How can I match them? The people you mentioned, let's say some transactions were for 20 yuan, 40 yuan, those were for taxis or cigarettes. When I buy cigarettes or pay for a ride, I just scan the QR code and pay. How could I possibly know the real name of the recipient? How could I answer your question? There's a difference between transfers and payments, you said. Transfers are transfers, you mean bank transfers. We don't handle transactions made through payment platforms, only bank transfers. Fine bank transfers. But earlier, you asked me about a transaction for 20-something yuan, asked me who the recipient was, and told me to forward the chat record. I told you I didn't know who that person was. Then you asked, you don't know who they are, so why did you transfer money to them? You said, I'll ask you about every transaction one by one. You didn't just make one or two, you made dozens. Fine, dozens, but all of them are normal transfers, aren't they? They're within my authorized limit under the agreement with the bank. And this is my personal card, not a corporate account. Isn't it my freedom to make transfers? The reason I'm angry is that you said from the very start that you wanted to check my chat logs, not only check, but also have me print them out for you. Your bank's authority is now exceeding that of the national judicial departments. Do you realize that? It's not about your daily spending records. It's about personal-to-person transfers via mobile banking, you said. I recorded it. I recorded everything. He said on record that he wanted to look at chat logs and even have them printed. Yes, that's what I said, he admitted. Personal to person, you can choose not to show them, you said. When you transfer to many different individuals in a short period, the system suspects that you're moving funds. The system suspects me of moving funds? It's a suspicion, you said. If you can prove you know those people since you initiated the transfers, you must know their accounts and names, then explain how you know them. Of course, by normal logic, I wouldn't transfer money to strangers. But how do I prove that I know them? That's what you're asking for, right? You said, once we verify those personal-to-person mobile transfers, everything will be fine. We can see your everyday small payments, we don't ask about those. The system just flagged that you transferred to many different individuals. All right, I understand what you mean. Fine. I'll call you officer, then officer, hello. I'm now cooperating with your questioning. I'm cooperating with your interrogation. I'm cooperating fully. Please tell me now what questions I need to answer. Officer, you are the officer. I'm not a police officer, you said. Then why are you interrogating me like this? You're acting as if you are. I'm saying this, you tell me you're going to question me. So go ahead, start your questioning. How should we resolve this case now? Are you here to unfreeze your account? You asked. I'm not resolving anything today. Today, I'm just cooperating with your interrogation. He wants to interrogate me. No one is interrogating you, you said. Then why does this person want to look at my chat logs and have me print them for him? You're worse than the police. You're more police than the police. It's just one way. You can choose another, you said. I tried to match names with you, but couldn't. You asked me about someone surnamed Fu and how much money it was. I said, which Fu? Then you suddenly said in a doubting tone, you don't even know who he is, so why did you transfer to him? That's when I was stunned. I don't know him, so why would I transfer to him? I thought about it later. I make so many transfers that I often don't even know the person's real name. There are too many. Then you said, if you don't know their name, why did you transfer? What kind of question is that? I didn't even know how to answer. In this communication process, it's both sides, you said. I understand your frustration. Let me be clear, I actually do understand that what you're doing is to protect customers, to safeguard their assets, right? It's to prevent illegal activities or financial crimes, correct? Yes, you said. But please look carefully. All my mobile banking transfers were local. The recipients are all in Hefei, in the same city, and they are my friends, people I know personally, not strangers. The issue is, I can't confirm that they are your friends or that they're in Hefei. That's what I need to verify, you said. Fine, but when I make a transfer, I have the recipient's account number, right? I can see from my phone where that account is registered. Can't you check that? The transaction flow doesn't display that information, you said. Can't see it? You can check the recipient's account number, it shows the region. They're all local Hefei accounts. We know each other. That's point 1. Point 2. None of my transfers went overseas, not to any country outside China, not to places like Myanmar or anywhere else. And note this. After I transfer to them, they also transfer back to me. All right, you said. Personal accounts cannot make transfers to foreign countries, and I'm not saying you did. You earn a monthly salary, and yet you're handling this bit of fake money without doing anything proper? Someone said. Yeah, if there's a problem with the card, I just need to authorize it for you. That's all. You can just go ahead and process it first. Every day you take 10,000 yuan and then another 25,000 yuan. That's enough reason to get you fired, the person continued. If you keep doing this, tomorrow I'll still have to eat with 1 yuan. If I don't fire you for taking 1 yuan and you still work in my company, then what's the point? Within the scope of your job, you should at least check first, what if you're being scammed? Do you even know what it's for? Someone asked. There's a bank rule about this, isn't there? When the person on the other side heard that, they became impatient. The money's deposited here with you, and you're still asking all these questions, right? If you don't let me withdraw 20,000 yuan, then I'll just withdraw 1 yuan instead. I'll take it 1 yuan at a time, 1 yuan per withdrawal. Apparently, the girl started to feel embarrassed and teared up. The staff member who was handling the situation later said they felt awkward about the whole scene, so in the end, they processed the withdrawal and let her take out 25,000 yuan in one go. In today's China, even your own money no longer feels like it truly belongs to you. Citizens are now required to explain every withdrawal and justify every transfer, even from their personal accounts. According to official data from the People's Bank of China, in 2024 alone, complaints about delayed or restricted cash withdrawals rose by over 47%, and more than 8 trillion yuan worth of transactions were temporarily frozen for verification. It's a striking sign of how financial control is tightening under the surface of everyday life. When banks start asking why you use your own money, it's no longer just about preventing fraud, it's about power, control, and fear. Is China's financial system really protecting citizens or quietly turning into a tool for surveillance? This is the uncomfortable reality behind the facade of stability. So here's the question. Do you still believe your money is truly yours? Leave your thoughts below. Let's start the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more uncensored insights from China social trends, where we reveal what's really happening beneath the headlines of China social trends. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.